So today I'm here with Dr. Katinka van der Ven, almost Dr. Katinka van der Ven, and almost Dr. Kyle Mulrooney. Kat's doing a PhD that actually involves PEDs. Kyle is just banging her, and so he helps with her research.
That's right.
So yeah, guys, probably from your point of view, tell me a little bit about yourselves, kind of a little bit into your research, and maybe a bit of a training background.
You go first.
What is your research?
Yeah, well, I'm just...
Okay, well, Katinka, as you know, does research on performance and image-enhancing drugs, particularly the trafficking of said drugs, with a focus on steroids and their use within bodybuilding subcultures. Katinka and I have both recently written together on that. Mostly we focused on the regulation of performance and image-enhancing drugs as it relates to sport, as well as how it's perceived as a public health matter. And our most recent article has kind of moved away from the policy end of it, and it's actually focused on the contamination of everyday supplements like vitamins, minerals, nutritional supplements that are used.
Yeah, awesome. So I think I saw your latest article. It's a little bit to do with contamination of supplements. So I think it's not only things, not what they say on the label, but there are also some illegal things in there. Can you go into a little bit more detail about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think there's three main problems with vitamins, minerals, and supplements, and it all stems from the fact that it's highly underregulated and highly accessible. The first problem is having illegal or banned substances in the products. The second problem is when what is said on the label is being replaced with fillers or something else. A few studies have shown, for example, that St. Johnson's wort was just grass and something else. And the third problem is when they're actually putting things in the product that may not necessarily be illegal, but that they're not declaring them on the label. So people who, for example, might have an allergic reaction to said substances are in danger of consuming these types of things.
So Kat, are there any kind of brand names you know in particular to look out for that have kind of got a history of being flagged up, or on the other side, any brands that are pretty clean?
Well, we didn't specifically look at certain brands. What we do recommend is that if you're looking for a specific supplement and you want to make sure that it's safe, that you use, for example, supplements that have the informed sport logo. So those supplements are also tested by labs, and they're sure that those contain no contaminated substance. But I don't think, there is not a specific brand that comes to mind, which I would say. I think we're also not allowed to say certain brand because.
Well, you can just state the facts. So, I mean, it depends on how risk averse you want to be, but probably the majority of supplements aren't contaminated with steroids.
No.
But if you want to be on the safe side, there are certain specific programs, the one Katinka mentioned, Informed Sport, which will actually test all the products that are coming out. So these would be supplements that would have the Informed Sport label, and then you can put some more trust in the fact that it won't contain anything. Now, in terms of brands that one should stay away from, I mean, you can't really say stay away from this brand, but there is some well-known stories about certain brands that have been found to be underdosed or overdosed. So, for example, right now in New York, the Attorney General was sent quite a strict letter to Walmart, GNC, and all these brands because they're selling all these vitamins and mineral supplements that don't contain anything that they say on the label. They're completely underdosed, everything like that. I don't know the exact brands, but they've all been removed from the shelves. Or that, is it a Dutch or Canadian brand? We're not quite sure. But that girl from the Lowlands Throwdown got caught taking. There's been, I forget the name of the company, Tested Nutrition, I think.
Ironic.
So they've Yeah, ironic. So they've been found out several times to either be underdosing their, I think protein it was.
Well, that is a related company. That was not Tested Nutrition, but they also own partially the company Body and Fit Shop. So that wasn't a home brand.
Oh, okay. So it was a home brand from the Netherlands called Body and Fit Shop that was actually found to be underdosing their protein substantially. This actual Tested Nutrition was the one where the girl from the Lowlands Throwdown who got caught for doping, inadvertent doping apparently, was taking multivitamins with DMAA in them.
Yeah.
So there is an example of actually a substance being contaminated with quite a unhealthy substance.
So, and the thing, for example, with Tested Nutrition is, and that's why you also have to be careful. And yeah, it sounds a little bit as like it's a bit of stupid advice, but also don't really believe everything what you see on the website, because Tested Nutrition, for example, claims that everything is tested for in a lab and that their products are safe. But if you then now see that that their products, contain an illegal substance, then it would almost be impossible that they were tested by a lab, right?
Yeah.
And this was not the only product from Tested Nutrition that tested positive. The custom service in the Netherlands tested several other products of Tested Nutrition, which also tested positive for DMMA. So in that sense, you really have to be careful what you read.
I think 3 of their products were found out to contain this, right? And
yeah.
I mean, did it say on the label that it had it?
No.
It wasn't stated on the label. It's an illegal substance.
Yeah, it's an illegal substance.
So what is the MMA and what does it actually do to you? Because I've never heard of that one before.
Yeah, I don't have too much knowledge on the actual properties of it and what it does to you, but
it raises your blood pressure.
Yeah, in short, what it's going to do to you is give you some cardiac issues, which could lead to a heart attack. So it raises your blood pressure. I think it restricts your blood vessels.
Yeah.
Therefore raising your blood pressure and putting you at risk for some cardiac issues. So I know we're just reading, it was introduced around the 30s and then it was voluntarily taken off the shelf in the 80s. So it's been well known. I think it's been linked to 5 deaths specifically, and it's been well known to just be generally not the best thing to put into your body. I think it's closely related to, like its effects would be closely related to ephedrine.
Okay. Oh, I think you've cut out a little bit there. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, no problem.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's see. Oh, I know. So you guys got some pretty good background on supplements. What supplements do you take, or if you take any now, if you even trust any of it? And are there certain supplements you see that have got good research on their efficacy and actually do what they say on the label? And then are there some that you kind of are pretty well known not to work?
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you asked me a year ago, I would have listed 4 or 5 supplements that I thought were, bread and butter that you should be taking. That's because that's what I read and that's how I felt about it. The more I've done this research and the more I've actually looked into it, I personally don't take any supplements anymore aside from protein, and I won't even take whey protein anymore. I'll get soy protein or egg white protein or something like that. And it boils down to basically the fact that, for me, little is known about the benefits of these substances, and even less is known about the implications of taking them long-term over time. And I'm in a particularly strange position being a diabetic, so it also affects me differently than it would other people. So that's more of a personal reason of why I wouldn't take supplements. But I honestly think that unless you're an elite level athlete, when it boils down to it, with the level of exercise and athletic stuff I do, I can get everything I need out of my diet, probably no problem.
Well, you have to also take that a step back, and why, for example, something like multivitamins are interesting for people is that because usually their nutrition is not really complete, right? Most of the people wouldn't have a proper diet, I would say. So in that sense, multivitamin can be beneficial to make your diet optimal. But what you then, for example, get is that people think, vitamins and minerals are healthy, so I'll just take them in excessive amounts. But if you, for example, take vitamins and minerals in excessive amount, it can actually cause more harm then be beneficial for you. It's actually related, for example, that it would increase your risk on certain cancers if you take vitamins and minerals in
excessive amounts.
Yeah.
But that's the problem, though. Like, if you look at the label of some of the best multivitamins, I won't name names, but you're getting around 2,000 to 3,000 of your daily value of certain things, and that might be good, but it also might not be so good. I mean, you have a growing body of research showing that I think vitamin E in high quantities, or vitamin D, and there's all these competing viewpoints and everything like that. But I think, from my maybe overly risk-averse perspective, it's if you're not sure of the implications of taking something like this in high quantities over time, and that you can get it, if you tweaked your diet appropriately, then I don't see why these. I think it's more of a business thing than it is really actually beneficial for 75, 80% of the population.
Yeah.
I can understand it in elite level athletes who are pushing their bodies to extreme points on a regular basis, but for someone who's going to the gym and is generally fit, I think it's unnecessary.
Yeah.
Katinka's point about people who actually have quite a poor diet and it making up for that, definitely there's probably benefits there, but
but you can
in
also
the long
solve
term,
that by
someone
having a proper
should
diet,
probably
right?
fix their
Yeah,
right?
so, and like what my colleague already said, like before I used to take a ton of supplements. I used like pre-workout, I used creatine, I used protein, I used glutamine, BCAAs, and I start reading up on it, and there is just little evidence that these products are really working. The only thing that is really working is creatine and protein, but as I said before, if your diet is imbalanced, then for example things like protein you basically don't need. Like it's more like if a tool, if you on a day, for example, you're not getting your protein limit or anything, that you can take an extra scoop of protein powder. But for the rest, there's just little evidence that it really works. And as Kyle already said, does the general population really need that? Unless you're really like performing, if you're an elite athlete, it's not necessary, right?
So, a lot of your work and a lot of your research looks into legal supplements and the quality of those, but I know you've also done some work on actually illegal supplements, and obviously there's a little bit more efficacy in these. I think you can kind of assume that off the bat, but I guess there's a lot of dangers involved with taking those if someone wanted to. Not saying that's a good idea at all, but with looking at some of your research, what are some of the risks involved with that, or even maybe some of the benefits?
For example, what I find in particular dangerous is the quality of a lot of these illegal products. So, for example, in my research, I tested the quality of black market steroids, and on only 17% did the products really contain what it said on the label. So, they were either underdosed, overdosed, or they had a different type of anabolic steroid in it. And for example, in one extreme case, the product was 230% overdosed. So you have to realize that if you take something like that and you don't realize that it's 230% overdose, that can lead to a lot of potential risks, right? So in that sense, I think it's really dangerous. And for example, there's a lot of research which actually has investigated the quality of black market steroids, which shows similar results. But also, if you look, for example, at weight loss products, there was one case study of a bodybuilder who used diet pills containing DMP, so that's a bit in the same length as DMMA, so it's also used to lose weight. And he thought that he had pills that contained 200 milligrams, but authorities later found out that the pills contained 320 milligrams per tablet. And because he basically overdosed, died eventually of using this product.
Wow.
So you can really see the dangers of the quality of these black market products.
Yeah, that one's been in the newspaper a lot lately in the UK, DNP. So a girl just died in the hospital a couple weeks ago, a boxer, stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in that sense, that's more basically about the quality of black market products. I mean, if you're talking about the steroid itself, it's a complete different discussion, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to anything.
Yeah.
And again, it's such a limited field of knowledge. There's little knowledge of what these substances do, particularly over time. Yeah. So unfortunately, you don't really know enough.
Yeah. So let's see. Anything else to add? Have you got any kind of thing that's on your mind, or maybe some articles you read that popped up recently that you'd like to share with anyone?
I don't know. I got nothing. You didn't give us enough time to think about this.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I think the supplement thing is really cool and interesting right now because of its financial viability, because of its it's growing. It's a big industry and it's an underregulated industry. I mean, there's one point to that. I mean, it's a money making industry. It's been hit a lot lately by all these reports of contamination, of underdosing, of containing stuff that doesn't say on the label. So you just have to kind of, I mean, people should take more responsibility, and not necessarily just read on the internet that BCAAs are good for you because that's what you're told, or it's taking your own responsibility and looking into these substances and actually first asking yourself if they're even beneficial for you, and if you really need them, or if you can find them elsewhere, like in meat, fish, and vegetables.
Yeah. All right, excellent, guys. Thank you so much for talking to me. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully I'll have you on again when you're actual doctors, and you'll probably have even more amazing things to talk about.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.